Hello and welcome to Gameday from the UK, another live pre-game streaming show brought to you by the Miami Heat UK. Here to preview tonight's game against the Charlotte Hornets. It's a busy Saturday night. Many of the stream team are missing. I can't blame them. But I am joined by the two Sams. Sam Aquara, how are you, sir?
I'm lovely. How about you?
I'm doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right. Yes, very well, thank you. Sam Post, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Looking forward to tonight. It should be a good one.
It should be a good one. Let's hope so. If you're listening on Twitter, thank you for joining us. If you want to get involved, like one of our panelists here, James Stone, he can't make tonight, he's at work, but he's still tuning in. If you want to get involved, hop over to the YouTube channel, Miami Heat UK TV, and you can get involved in the conversation. Guys, back-to-back games against the Hornets. The Heat got a win last time out, but my God, did they make hard work of it. It took an overtime win against a pretty much tanking Hornets team with no LaMelo Ball, who was on the second night of a back-to-back, and yet the Heat still managed to almost blow it, which would have been crazy. Sam Aquara, another fourth quarter collapse. I mean, we was up by, I think, about 8 by the half. I think we was up by 15 going in within a couple of minutes, I think, into the fourth, and yet 6 or 7 minutes later, coming down the stretch, we was down by 5, managed to get it back. But what's going on here? It's another fourth quarter collapse, which means it goes right down to the buzzer, last possession for the last 5 games in a row now. What's going on?
It's easy to point out that the errors happened in the fourth quarter because that's obviously where a lot of it was caught out. That's how we gave up a large lead and went into overtime. But you could see it all through from the first to the second to the third quarter. We were winning, we're hitting threes early in the game, but we weren't playing as tight as we should be. There was like a lack of urgency from quarters 1 to 3, and it's only so long you can keep up with that. It will catch up with you in this league of professional NBA stars. So I liked what I saw in certain instances of the game, but it felt like there was something lacking. Other than Jimmy, it was like everyone else was in cruise control. And it's not what I would like to see this early in the season where the team struggled. Well, I won't say struggling, but it's in the process of finding who they are.
Well, I think you said the right point there, because the Heat's ethos, as we know, I mean, I'm even wearing a T-shirt, hardest working, best condition, most professional, all that sort of thing. Yet they're not showing that. This team doesn't seem to, this time last year, we were talking about team full of dogs, PJ, Dedmon, Butler, Lowry. They've all got that mentality, and it seems like it's not been there really at all yet so far this season, Sam Post. And I know it's early doors and we're only 12-13% through the season. There's a hell of a long time to go and we haven't been at full health yet. But I don't know, what do you put this down to? Because we haven't played well yet really at all this season. Is it a mental thing? Is it just that they're not finding their identity yet? What's the main reason why you feel like we are struggling at the moment? All the way through this season, we've been struggling.
That's a great question. And I feel like it's kind of echoed in the management of the team as well. Like, you have nearly have a finals run. You don't make any changes to get better. All your competitors add star players. You kind of get complacent with the roster that you have. I feel like the players are echoing that, they're reflecting that. It seems like everyone's expecting that, we can keep playing how we are, we're a talented group and the wins will start coming, but the effort needs to be there as well. And it's fine winning in overtime against the Hornets. It's fine, like, going down to a wire against these teams, but that's not consistent. And we really need that mentality to come back, because that's what gets us through the mid-season where back-to-backs is going to be a lot trickier and require a lot more toughness. I feel like something needs to change maybe at the top of the organisation as well, just to kind of bleed through onto players as well.
Yeah, look, I think that, I'm not in panic mode. I'm not like, waving flags and demanding to be, everything's got to be a reset. Obviously, we're not there yet. And I just feel like that I can take losing games. That's part of sport. That's part of basketball. And I know we've won this game, which is fine. But, what I can't really accept is the effort side of it. And Sam, it shouldn't take Sam Aquila. It shouldn't take a Jimmy Butler masterclass to beat a team that, are just I don't want to say just showing up, because it's still early in the season, but this is a team that had no right really to be involved that close, to go down and take it to the last position. They should have won. If they had a 3-pointer to win that game, And that all comes down to effort, like Sam just said there. And, when you look at, we know this team has got its flaws. We're small. We're 24th in offensive rating. We're 27th in rebounds. We can pinpoint to why these things might not be going our way, but you can't excuse effort. And at the moment, as I said, Jimmy Butler had to scrape us, put us on his back to get us through that game. Is that a wake-up call for the rest of his teammates to say, come on, guys, help me out here, show the effort at least?
Is that a wake-up call? I want to say no, because we talked a lot in the offseason about how the team was being rolled forward. So it's the composition of the team was pretty much what we had last year. And we all know the sort of level at which they played last year. And obviously we drafted a player or two. We got 2 new players here and there. But the culture still remains. So I don't feel like they needed a wake-up call. It shouldn't have been a case of Jimmy saying to them, okay, this is what you got to do. They already know it. So it's hard to pinpoint what exactly is going on. I want to believe they're trying to figure out the way this team should be run. And it's taken its toll in the sense that we haven't figured it out yet. Let me put it that way. It felt like we were relying too much on the 3 ball in the start of the game and toward the end of the game as well. And when we were hitting it, we were miles in front, and when they weren't sinking, they started to catch up. So I think it's a mini identity crisis that's going on right now.
Yeah, I think that is a really good point to highlight. And look, I don't want to, we won the game. I don't want to I've come on and I've started with all negatives because that's how it feels. Even though we've won a game of basketball, it felt like a bad performance, a bad loss. And what's annoying is it's the same struggles. It's the same thing that we're struggling all season. But that was my next point, and I'll bring it on to you, Sam Post, is, this was a 3-point shooting team last year, the year before that. There was, the whole we got shooters thing. This was, we was littered with quality shooting. And this year, the 3-point shooting has been awful. I mean, that last game, we won the game, but we shot 28% from 3. For the season, we're shooting 34%. That's 20th in the NBA. But to that point, and I had this argument, well, not argument, but debate through Twitter earlier on in the week, despite Hero's brilliant so far this season, are Miami better, even though those stats don't back it up? Are they better to have a spacer on at all times because of the fact that the gravity, even if the shots aren't going down, the gravity it commands? Do Miami need to tweak the starting 5 right now, especially with Hero still being out, to include always a Max Strus, always a Duncan Robinson, to at least, and then as Sam just said there, Sam McCall just said there, if the 3-point shooting comes back to normality, these games look a lot closer and a lot more comfortable.
I feel like at some point in the season, it's going to go back to normal. It's like, with the exception of Duncan Robinson, players just don't forget how to shoot.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is, if we have a spacer that lets Jimmy thrive, he's not a threat from beyond the arc. He thrives in the mid-range, run a basket, having more shooters on the floor, that allows him to do that. But I feel like the main issue with this team, there's not enough rim pressure. We don't really get kickouts. We don't get amazing looks for the players who are meant to hit the threes. So if we can get someone who can consistently apply that, I think that's a big area where Hero needs to develop. We've seen it a little bit this season, but it's not enough to shoulder that burden. If we can get someone who really generates those looks for our shooters, the percentages will just go up naturally. So I feel like it's more of a how we get those shots than once the ball leaves the shooter's hands.
Yep, that is a fair point as well. And then on the back of that, then Sam Aquara is Bam Adebayo this year. He's been mediocre. That's not to say he's been bad. I think that we're expecting this leap. We keep being talked about this leap, this player that's going to put the team on his back, to not always rely on Jimmy. And so far this year, I know it's still early, of course, and I'm trying not to be too negative on this stream, but it feels like at the moment it's when are we going to see it? When are we going to see the regular Bam takeover games in close games like we've had an abundance of this year?
I don't know if it's just me, but I'm seeing a whole new dimension of Bam this season. And looking at the Charlotte game and the game before that, I felt like a good percentage of the time, I don't have the stats to me, but I felt like a good percentage of the time, the offense ran through him. And I'm starting to see a lot more where he's bringing the ball up. He's initiating sets at the 3-point line, trying to get players involved here and there. And then obviously we've got the element where he's embracing the mid-range as well. So from my point of view, I actually like what I'm seeing from Bam. And I feel like it's a matter of time till, I mean, we've been saying this for so long, but I feel like it's a matter of time until he flips the switch and he becomes this all-rounded player. And my issue is I don't know how much time we've got for that to happen this season. Like, I feel like it's all coming together and like it's at that moment where it's ready to explode, but I don't want it to take so much time. That way, I'm getting impatient.
Yeah, I think that's that's the sort of the frustration, if you like. And again, I've sounded really negative on this stream all the way through, and I don't want that to be the case. But it's what I'm seeing. It's the eye test. I'm not a massive guy. I mean, I look at stats, but I just look at the feel for the game. And at the moment, this team have 5 wins and probably only played well in one of them. And I feel like at the moment so far, I look at a team with a lot of flaws. We know this probably isn't going to be the team that's going to go into the playoffs. We know there are going to be changes, of course. But yeah, I just think that, that we need to see a bit more from Bam. And we know he's got it in him. It's that constant frustration for me. That's all that is. Let's get on to very quickly before I get some predictions. We've shown over the last few games just a very simple 8-man rotation signpost. And I don't know what Nikola Jovic is doing wrong to not get use out of this team, to not get minutes, to not get reps, because he's good enough to be a part of this team. He's useful to be a part of this team. What's going on?
Honestly, he's for a team that clearly has like a hole of a power forward spot, for a team whose backup big isn't, Devon's not really on that level. I can't see a reason why he's not getting more opportunities to play. Maybe it's something to do with, he's just entered the league. He's not experienced enough. But when we've seen him on the court, he's been more than solid. In Summer League and preseason, he was really putting it together as well. I would bet that later on in the season, especially if we don't go out and get someone at the trade deadline, he'll start to get more reps and kind of get accustomed to playing. But for now, having an 8-man rotation, especially when the players that you're giving major minutes to are old and not injury prone necessarily, but definitely a risk, it doesn't really make sense to not get some more of the younger guys involved.
And that's my thing. I mean, Spo is, I'm not being a homer here, he's the best coach in the NBA. And yet this constant almost stubbornness to not give his rookies a chance, or to especially when, we're short in that area. This isn't just like a luxury where you're stacked and you just think, well, I can't risk putting him in. We need him and he can be helpful. He can be useful. It's a bit of a head scratcher. I think that might change tonight. I really do think we'll see a bit of Jovic tonight. I really hope so. Maybe, he sees him on the court every day. Maybe there's still a little bit of a fitness issue there. I don't know, but I just look at a team that's struggling, and you've got a guy who can plug in and play. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Before, again, quick stream tonight. There's only a couple of us on, so I'm going to get some predictions in a minute. But each the same question. I'll start with you, Sam Aquara. We've got the Hornets again tonight. LaMelo Ball will be back, we think. Sam Aquara, simple question to you first. What do the Miami Heat need to improve more than anything else tonight after last time's overtime win? What do they need to be better at?
My gut's telling me 3-point defense, and this is becoming a recurring trend this season. But I want to say intensity, non-Jimmy intensity. So intensity of everyone else excluding Jimmy.
Yep, spot on. Great, short, sweet, but absolutely to the point, and I completely agree with you. Sam Post, what are you thinking?
Just play on the perimeter, both defending it, like Sam said, and shooting the ball. I want to see better looks for shooters. I want to see them actually make the shots once they have the looks, and especially in defending, both players kind of get into the paint with ease and shooting the three. That's major. That majorly like swings games for us.
There you go. So there you are. All you need to do, Spo, just plug in this to the changing room. We've sorted it out for you. We've sorted it out. Just listen to the Game Day from the UK stream. Brilliant stuff, guys. We will get some predictions. What do you think? LaMelo is back. As I said, we believe that he is going to be making his season debut, which I'm delighted for, because you want to see incredible young talent playing well, healthy. So I'm pleased he's back. We got through in the end. Heat are -9 on the spread tonight. Sam Aquara, what do you think?
Heat win. Not going to cover the spread, but 7. Heat by 7.
Heat by 7. Like it. Sam Post?
Heat by 5. I reckon.
Heat.
Yeah.
Confident. Heat by 5. James is saying Heat by 20. James is always saying Heat by 20. I love it. Look, I think tonight will be a much better performance. Not that we played badly, but we let it get away from us. I think that it will be more comfortable. I think there was a lot of. I think there'll be maybe a lot of people that realise maybe they've got to step up. Will watch Jimmy having to grind it out and do the things that we don't really want to see him doing this early in the season, i.e. driving to the basket in crunch time, drawing that contact, taking the hits on his body. It's too early for this. That was almost like playoff Jimmy in game 11 of the season. So I think there'll be a lot of people that maybe go, right, we've got to do a bit better here. So I'm going to say a comfortable win, and I will say Heat by 9. There you go. Cover the spread. There we are. So we're locked in, a sweep across the board. A 1 a.m. tip tonight, but it's a Saturday, so we've got nothing to get up for tomorrow. So come and follow us at the Miami Heat UK for in-game comms. Subscribe to Miami Heat UK TV, and we'll be back next week for more content. We have Game Day from UK on Monday night to cover the Suns game, and we've got Jeremy Taché booked in for Heating Up the UK on Wednesday night. We'll see you next week for lots of content. Let's go Heat. 2-win streak coming up tonight. Enjoy the game, guys.